United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, there will be a slight change to the agenda. Under city business number 6, we're going to strike that and possibly bring it back next week because not everybody that was on the committee that had discussed that is here tonight. So with that change, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion.
Cummins with the first.
Second.
And Helm with the second.
Cummins?
Yes.
Hembry?
Yes.
McNeil?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so then to communications tonight, we do have a couple of people scheduled tonight. The first up is Pamela Bisbee. If you wouldn't mind coming to the podium right here up next to the pillar, I'd appreciate it. She's going to talk about the damage caused to the lawn after the North Avenue construction project. Ms. Bisbee.
So, I'm sorry.
No, you're
My
good.
name is Pam Bisbee. I live at 1320 Cedar Street. I live in a house at the end of the cul-de-sac, North Avenue. I believe my property is the one that took the blunt of the construction property, or construction project, I should say. I guess I gave it the fall. They came and they did the spray, or the hydro seed to the lawn. I gave it this spring. When it came to the spring, I had noticed that the unevenness, the debris, the rock, everything that was left in my yard from this construction project had prevented it from the grass growing. I did go to Mr. Nash with the city to try to rectify the issue of doing something, filling in the gaps, fixing the lawn, putting topsoil down. He stated that the company that they contracted with was coming back to correct the issue. I came home and it was hydro seeded again. It did not even correct the unevenness of, when cutting my grass, my blades are hitting areas because it's so uneven. So with that being said, I did go ahead and hire a grasshopper lawn care to come and fill in those areas and put seed down. I guess I wasn't aware that how much it was gonna cost me. Also, he filled in a hole that was near my tree caused by them digging and put the water main in my front yard, which was filled twice, I believe by Triple B. I'm not sure if it was the lawn or the other third-party contractor. I'm not sure who filled it, but it was filled twice. It just kept sinking. He did fill that and put some topsoil on it and seed on there. The bill was over $500 with, on top of that, watering the grass. And of course, I'm gonna be honest, I like a nice lawn. I had it nice before it was tore up. I have had it sprayed for weeds and fertilized since then. But without that cost, it's over $500, and I would like to come to the city to see if they're willing to take part of that damage or, to rectify this issue. It's still an ongoing, I'm still picking up debris and rock from out of there, but it's slowly growing. I am watering the grass. It's not that, that's not the problem, but I guess that's what I'm coming to you with, so.
Oh yeah, and you guys were given pictures of it. It wasn't included in our packet.
Steve, do you have anything to add?
Only that when they came back this spring, I believe it was even after you had grasshopper come in.
No, it was before.
Before?
Yeah. Because I waited until to give you the opportunity.
I know they came late. They came 2 weeks later than they said they were going to.
Yeah, as you had stated, I think it was beginning of,
I would agree. I
When did
wasn't
grasshopper
happy
come?
with that either.
May 5th.
I would also say this, it does take a while to restore that grass. It takes.
It is, it's slowly getting there, but
And people across the street from me have all watered their lawns and it's all come back.
Yeah, I mean, it's slowly coming back. I mean, we've just had a 2-week drought, so I watered during that entire time. It's just, as I said, it was just so uneven, so patchy that, I mean, even in the pictures, you can clearly see where they sprayed and didn't spray. Because I have the right of way in front of my yard, I have in front of my tree, I have on the other side of my driveway where they put the fire hydrant. So there's multiple areas that had to be addressed, and in my opinion, the individual, whoever was contracted out, did a very inadequate job. They did the bare minimum. And it's just, like I said, there was just so many bare spots that didn't even have the hydro seed that clearly was seen after it was done. But
Ron, Mike, Tim online, any thoughts? Abby?
I've got so many. Can we find out when this second time was that they were supposed to come? Just for my own clarification on if this was done before or after their second visit. I think that would be good to know. Another thought, of course, and I don't disagree. I saw the pictures and it looks horrible.
I'm trying to see what the date on the picture.
And if it was my lawn, yeah, I would be upset, but it's a tough one, you know.
It is very tough.
You've got,
You also have a can of worms if you have, you know.
right,
city
you've got the
paper
whole,
every yard.
you've got the whole neighborhood that
Right.
you have to worry about. So whatever you do, you have to make sure that it's fair
We made
for
final payment to these
everyone.
people. To the grass, people, we made final payment to these people.
There was the retainage.
Yeah. Because
Well, it's all,
it is an adequate job.
there should also be a warranty involved too.
I just think there needs to be a little more investigation into that stuff.
We need to look into.
So are you still holding the retainage?
No,
That's I don't think we are.
That was for based on final completion, wasn't
no,
it?
that was,
No.
that was paid 2 meetings ago.
Well, if we're going to check into these dates, does that mean you want to table it?
I would say
I
that right
think so,
now.
yes.
The very next meeting is 17th, or a week from tonight.
Oh, okay, that was every other week, but,
It usually
It was.
is the 4th of July.
oh, kind of, okay, yeah, I should be able to make it, so.
You know, because the thing you're gonna start as a precedence is
Yeah.
Mhm.
when you start doing surface restoration, we can look back at every project and do every one of them clear back to 2000. It's over 23 years worth. Mary Swan was one that had a field day with the city manager at the time. When Plum Street went through. That was very vivid and recollecting. They changed curb box up on Horizon. Even the subcontractors, when they destroy the right of ways, they never put them back as was, like they're supposed to. And the only way to change that, I think, would be change your contract specification from the engineer that it would be brought back. And that's probably why bigger cities have exuberant amounts for restoration. And I don't think we want to get into that, because that'll make your construction work cost prohibitive. So you're gonna fight it money-wise, no matter how you approach it.
So, all right, we should have a decision for you on next Monday.
Okay. You guys already have a copy of the bill and the public.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was
Thank
looking right
you.
here.
Thank you. All right, the next one up that was scheduled is Eric Cruz, but I don't see him. And it was just to let you guys know though, it was to ask if there's anything that changed on our sidewalk plans for Plum Street.
I actually still had that in my notes to revisit that too, because that was one of them that I think is important to look at.
Because
That's my opinion.
and the last time that we had looked at it, we had Jack Pope in here and it was gonna be upwards of $330,000 or $40,000. So I don't think at that time you guys wanted to do anything with it.
Oh, it'd be nice to figure something else out.
Definitely.
And school's back in August. so.
That's the big problem.
Yeah.
know where to go.
Exactly, and then you throw the cost in on top of that. All right, so that, there is no real update on it, it's cost prohibitive, and the planning for it was a little wonky to begin with. The route for it, sorry, the route for it was a little wonky. All right, if anybody else would like to say anything to the council, this is the open part of it, since we had the two scheduled. All right, seeing there's none, and Tim is the only one online, we'll close that portion of the meeting and move on to the consent agenda. These can be enacted with one motion. And it's the approval of the council meeting minutes from June 19th, approval of the library minutes from June 5th, approval of the library director's report from May of 2023, approval of the planning and zoning minutes from June 1st, approval of the planning and zoning minutes from June 15th, approval of a drip reimbursement to Nicole Rock at 323 Cedar Street in the amount of $7,500. Approval of a street closure on East 5th between Cedar Street and Meridian Street for the Touch Truck event on Saturday, August 5th from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Approval of the township contract for ambulance services for Rochester Township, and approval of the claims register, which includes claims paid under the current purchase policy. Do any of these need to be pulled out? Seeing there are none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
Cummins with the first and Hembry with the second.
McNeil,
Yes.
Yes.
Cummins?
Yes.
Hembry?
Yes.
All right, so first up tonight for city business is a discussion of possible action concerning a change order that the school has to their bleachers retaining wall on the visitor's side that conflicts with the existing city manhole. And now this change order is for them. It's not our project, but it's their change order. And the situation would be explained today. And we got Steve and Brian went and looked at it. Steve, you want to fill them in with more stuff?
Well, apparently, the plans that they're using now are not the same plans that we looked at a year ago, because those bleachers were supposed to be back around 7 feet from the fence. Now, what they're saying is that there was only 2 feet back, and because they found that manhole, now the new retaining wall will be right on top of that manhole. So the manhole needs to be exposed and utilized. We need to keep that manhole operational, of course, to have access to that sewer. That's the main sewer that goes down to the East Lagoon. So to move that back, if we change that, if they're changing that from 2 feet to 6 feet or something like that, to do that, I think it's $10,500 for additional excavation. So that's kind of the gist of it. And they're wondering if, since they didn't know the manhole was there, if we'd like to participate in this project with them.
And why did they not know the manhole was there? This wasn't in wasn't in any of the prints, any of the things that was worked up with any engineer or anything?
They didn't investigate that, I don't think, very thoroughly. There's a manhole shows on our map. It doesn't show exactly where it is, and this manhole was buried, the lid was buried by 4 or 6 inches. But there was apparently no real effort to locate it. We weren't asked to locate it. The thing that, and I went back, Brian and I went and looked at it today, and I went down and looked at this, and if they were only gonna have a 2 foot of sidewalk there, and now they're gonna move it back 6 feet, I thought that sidewalk, when we looked at it a year ago with a big meeting, that sidewalk was 6 or 7 feet wide in front of the bleachers, which would have put a retaining wall well behind that manhole. I'm a little bit confused on why was this plan that they're working on now only 2 feet of sidewalk between the track and the bleachers? Only 2 feet, you can hardly walk through there.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So now they have excavated it to move it back. And the 6 feet, the actual plan shows, the original plan shows over 7 feet of walkway in that area.
And they actually have a plan that shows that they were moving it, or do you think they just made an error?
I have not seen that. That's a good question. And I did call the school, I haven't, to see if I could get a copy of that, and I didn't get a return call. So I'm a little bit up in the air. I just don't understand that.
So we paid an engineer to do this.
No,
They didn't
no,
find-
No, they,
That-
this
It's all
is,
that.
this is
School.
all the school, yes.
The school wants us to pay for their mistake.
They want to see if we want to help out, and it's our manhole to see if we want to help out with that cost, you know, as a,
We'd be happy, Mike, to raise that manhole to the sidewalk level, which would take about 4 inches of a donut to put in there to raise that up to their grade.
Mhm.
Not a big deal at all. I'm just a little frustrated with that.
Mhm.
So,
The information that it's now 2 feet, where did that come from?
Well, it was verbal from Lauren today. I talked to him, he said, oh, it was only 2 feet, which was a little short of that manhole. 3 foot would have put it right on top of the manhole. And so if you look at that last plan, and I think I brought a copy of
Yeah.
it to you, Brian. That showed over 7 feet of walkway. Initially, when we looked at this whole thing with the school, the idea of that sidewalk basically was to go completely around the track on the outside. And it was gonna be handicap accessible and all that. And I thought that was a great plan.
A 2-foot wide sidewalk is not handicap accessible.
That doesn't even make residential standards.
That's not Abbey accessible. I need room to move.
Somebody asked me, how wide's the aisle on an airplane? Yeah, that's about 2 feet. You know, that-
I
Are
feel
you
like
sure
that's
that
just-
2 feet was for the sidewalk and not the buffer between the track and the retaining wall for the sidewalk?
Well, you take a look at it, Ron, and you tell me.
Maybe
Now,
that's the
here's
problem.
my first question. Does the city have permanent easement across the property?
Oh,
When the city transferred ownership, did the easement get established and was the manhole located?
no idea.
Then if the city would have had a permanent easement, they'd have been aware of the city's manhole setting in the property of their existing with the permanent easement, correct?
well, we all know that there's city utilities underneath that football field and on outside of the football field. I'm sure that there was probably an easement had to be granted when that was transferred from city park to the school. Back in when?
2000,
Was it 2000?
when Dick Shrug was here.
Yeah.
So what you have to ask yourself, you know, as an entity, did the easements, were they shown to the current owner?
Did the
Because
current,
you have to have a permanent easement go across people's turf.
did the current owners seek that?
Is the current owner
Information?
still the former owner in 2000?
Because if the city knew where that line was at, when they asked for locates to start a project like any other development, you'd locate the line.
That's right. Was there ever a locate put in for that? I don't think so. If there would have been a locate put in for that, we would have located it.
Right.
I think the assumption might have been that the sewer line, that main, was outside of the construction area to the east, not that close to the track.
Well, the day the contractor unearthed it, Mr. Tholen and Mr. Brennan both presumed that it was on the backside of the bleachers where they've been pulled back to, that follow that berm line that goes down to where the water pit's at,
That's right.
and would take it right across into the car wash. Okay, but if you actually work the turf, but you look to the west of where your water main break was, or the water line break was 3 years ago, that's still recovering, you know, that sewer line is to the west of it. And the intersecting sewer manhole is in the parking area for where the bus is set, behind the reserved parking on the AKA north side of the fence road. But still comes back to, do we have, or does the school have or the city have a permanent easement for that sanitary sewer? And if that would be a no, then that's one thing that has to be cleaned up now as most important. The debate as to how to defray the cost, as a school employee, anybody that works with the school or has those in school basically have to almost abstain, which would include the entire council, to include our mayor. So me, I sit back, I say, do right by the community.
How does
The
that,
community's gonna pay for it, whether it's in our sewer fees or through our property taxes on the school's tax.
I agree with everything you said, Ron, but how does that play into this situation?
What's the permanent easement there and conveyed to the new owner?
Run that by me. I didn't-
What does that mean?
Yeah,
When the city deeded ownership to the school, did they show all the utilities of the cities on that property for Wayne Forty survey?
well, nobody here was there then.
I'm not sure we can find that answer.
Not right now, anyway.
Well, definitely not right now.
We'd have to look that
I mean,
answer
I
up.
would,
I normally wait to ask my questions later, but this one's bothered me from the beginning. Who covered it up in the first place? Who built on top of it? Who did that? They obviously knew it was there and they covered it up. Do you know, Steve?
I've probably been that way a long time. I don't know.
All right, two good questions. So,
I guess here is a council member's point that can't vote. Is the council receptive to helping the school out since it is a city sewer line and manhole?
Well, that's the school's question too.
Right.
What the cost was?
Well, we were asking that and Jason seemed happy enough it was 50-50.
That's well, I'm saying that too. We don't have an answer for anything. We don't have an answer for any of it right now.
I'm not opposed to that. I just wish that we knew more why this all happened.
Yeah,
And,
Stu brought up a good question.
and
Who
how we
covered it up?
prevent that.
And that could go back
So-
to who built the retaining wall in the first place with the privatized cables.
Can you hear me okay?
yes. Well, now we can. That was the first time we could hear you, Tim, in this
Okay,
discussion.
what are the school's plan? Did I hear 2 foot versus 6 foot for a sidewalk?
Did.
Yes.
So what is it, 2 foot or 6?
My understanding of the plan, Steve, Tim, was the apron around this track is 2 foot, and they'd have a 6-foot sidewalk around the whole thing to make it ADA compliant. That 2-foot apron was gonna set the retaining wall right on top of the manhole. If you measure 2 feet back from the surface of the track, you're gonna be right on top of that manhole, right dead center, about off the 45-yard line of the football field.
That little distance, did you?
Well, Stevie, I asked him, I go, you don't want that retaining wall weight, load, put on the toe of that cone or the base of your foundation, to that manhole, right?
No, you didn't. All right, so either which way, sounds like we need to do a little bit of research. No.
Let's say that when the property was conveyed, there wasn't an easement taken back, but if there's been a line there for, they were guessing 50 years, and what does that mean? Does that mean we're gonna move it? I don't think so.
What'd you say it was, $10,500 approximately?
That, Mike, what that was the cost of further excavation back into the, away from the fence so that there could be a 6 or 7 foot sidewalk there. With the manhole, level with that,
And you bring it up above ground?
bring it up to the sidewalk, so it would be in the sidewalk.
Okay.
But it was just for further excavation. From what I understand, I think
I can't envision it.
You know,
Is it
no
something?
matter how you look at it, when it comes to anyway,
My
whether we
brain
do it
needs
with
to
school,
sleep.
we do it with,
I haven't really got it.
we split 50/50 with schools.
It is,
Pay for anything for the cemetery either, but.
I just, it's true that the community's gonna pay for it either way, but
Right.
whose budget is gonna pay for it either
Exactly,
way? Is
that's
what
what I'm
the
saying.
question is, really, let's be honest, that's what the question is. Is,
Who's at fault?
and
Part of it.
I don't feel comfortable just saying, yep, you're right, we made a mistake and this is what we need to do. But I'm not saying that we didn't, or that we shouldn't, I'm just saying I don't feel comfortable making that decision right now without a little more information.
We'll come back in the weekend, so we can try to figure
I just like to say one other thing. We've dealt with engineers and design people here since I've been here for 18 years. Typically, the design people, the engineers, the people that lay these things out, have full knowledge of
Right,
what we have buried and where it is and it's located. And the design and the project is designed with that in mind and around it if that's the case, or over it or whatever, but it is accounted for in the design.
correct. And I think that if we're going to put money towards something, we need the plans. We need to be able to see that. We need to be able to see that and say, this is where our money is going. This is why we're doing this. I feel like you need to verify the cost of.
There never was located anyway, so.
Well, Mike, Steve, to tag along with that point a little bit, the engineer did miss also the water line that they're trying to move into the concession stand as well. So I don't know how much more, because they assumed it was a certain diameter and it's not. And I was on the engineering team as well. Not the engineering team we hired, but the school hired.
Right. Hence the reason I think we need to see plans and say, yeah, you're right, this is an error on our part, we need to fix that.
All right, so Mike just made a motion to table.
Second.
Cummins with the second.
Hal,
Yeah.
Yes.
okay.
Amber, did you say yes?
You can table.
All right. Second one.
Did you say my name? I'm a yes, I
So
don't
whatever.
know. Okay.
I just kept going.
No, you're fine.
Did you say yes?
Second one,
Yes.
resolution. This would be a resolution that waives the right to review that final plat of Whirling's first edition, Cedar County, Iowa. This one just goes to the account. And, second?
Cummins,
Yes.
Hembry,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Yes.
All right, the third one tonight is a resolution to assess a nuisance charge due to non-payment of the property owner. Mr. Wagner?
I got it.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Melissa.
This is just requesting permission to take this resolution to the county treasurer's office to assess the charges to the property to be paid forward through taxes.
Any questions for Melissa on this? Is there a motion to
Motion.
approve? Cummins with first,
Second.
Helm with second.
Hembry,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
All right, the fourth one tonight, discussion and possible action concerning a 3-year renewal with Office Machine Consultants. Melissa?
We have, we're gonna be coming upon our 3-year expiration of our current contract with them in December. And so I met with them last week and they presented another 3-year contract that would also start in December. They reviewed our services though. We're on kind of an unlimited contract, so we can call them when we have computer problems or whatever the case. It was similar to our contract with ITP. And they evaluated the calls that we've had versus the costs that they've had, and they decided that they needed to reduce the charges that they were charging us from our last contract. So we would have about $1,200 savings annually. So that is requesting to go into another 3-year term with them.
All right,
Motion.
Cummins with first. And Helm with second.
McNeil,
Yes.
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
Hembry,
Yes.
All right, and finally tonight, number 5, discussion of possible action concerning the purchase of decorative LED streetlights. John Walsh is here.
To get the lights the same as what we have in downtown, it was with Hall of Fame, and I've done a lot of patchwork to get this to go through. Before they won't even talk to us, we have a bad relationship with them. So it's for 7 poles. It's from South Street by Target Mark to the library. Library 1 in the middle of the block, we moved across the street, but there's 7 poles there. These will match the downtown ones, exactly the same. I had reached back out and it's $837 if you want all the other extras put on it. That's your Christmas, banners, receptacles, flag, holder. So, any questions?
There's funding in the electric utility CIP for
Yep.
this too. So there's a way to pay for it, and it would be nice if you could do all the same options with these that you do with all the other ones.
I agree. I would say you want to do all of it.
All right, so is that
That is a motion
if you guys want to have it, that's a motion to,
to do the polls along with
The
the
extras.
accessories?
Yeah.
Does that work?
Accessorize.
all right. So that was a motion. Is there a second?
Yep.
Embry with the second?
Helm,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
Hembry,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
All right, then that brings us down to the reports section. Let me get back to it. I don't have anything this week. Council, committees, city manager, department heads. All right, then we are down to adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Embry with first
I'll second.
and Helm with second.
Cummins,
Yes.
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 All right, thank you, everyone. We are adjourned.